let's talk about breastfeeding and how hard it can be. And some people may be watching this video because they're thinking, how dare you make a video talking about anything negative about breastfeeding? And then some people, I would assume most people that would watch this video are watching it because breastfeeding is hard. And I think it's time that we talk about, I think it's important to talk about why breastfeeding is important, but I think just like motherhood, we have to let moms know that if it's hard, they're not doing anything wrong. Like, that it's common. Like, I don't know how to say this, but like, it's normal. It's normal to feel like breastfeeding is hard. It's normal to feel like you just don't think you have it in you to do it another day. And it's normal to just feel completely and totally overwhelmed with it. I mean, we have to admit that giving a bottle is sometimes just easier. It doesn't feel, sometimes we feel guilty, like we do feel guilty. It doesn't matter. We always feel guilty when we hand over that bottle. Now, you might say, okay, easier, what kind of easier are we talking about? Like, you still have to boil water and you have to, cool it down. You've got to mix it. You've got to carry everything with you. And you have to, I know that bottle feeding, formula feeding has its own set of cons, right? And the reason we choose to breastfeed is not because it's necessarily easier. It's because it's better for our babies. And I think that's the reason we do it, and that's the reason we need to keep in our mind as to why we're going through the hard parts of breastfeeding. I think it's important to talk about breastfeeding being hard. I think we need to let moms know that there are going to be times when you want to give up. There are going to be times when it's just hard. I have said to moms before that have been on the verge of quitting breastfeeding, and what I have said to them is, you know what? Quit next week. And when next week comes, set a date for another day to quit. And keep doing that. And if you stop, I shouldn't say quit. If you stop, set a time that you're going to stop breastfeeding. Get to it and say, okay, give it another day or another week, and see how far you can push yourself before you actually stop. My sister got to, I want to say it was probably around 3 months or 3.5 months, and she was just ready to stop. And I didn't want to encourage her to stop, but I also didn't want to ignore her feelings of being overwhelmed. That, not every breastfeeding experience will be hard, but a lot of them are. A lot of breastfeeding experiences, you will have at least a period of time in there where you'll go through some hard times, where you will feel like you just want to quit. You feel like you just want to give up because it's just so hard and you're so tired, and whatever, challenges you might be going through. So I told my sister, just, wait, just pick a date that you're going to stop, and let's get to that date. And when we get to that date, let's see if you can push yourself a little farther. He is now 6 months, 7 months, and she's still breastfeeding and doing great. She still has her difficult days. She still has moments where she just is like, okay, I just want to stop. But what she does is, and I have always been an advocate for this, if you have to take a day off, if you have to give a bottle, you take you know, if you have to take a feeding off, if you have to take, you know, some time to yourself and you have to give a bottle, you know, you just have to work a little harder to make sure that you don't lose your milk, you know. So there were times when, you know, my sister would say, you know what, I just can't do it. I'm just going to give him a bottle and I'm going to pump. And so she would pump and she'd give him a bottle and it got her through that day. And then there are times where she traveled a lot and ended up giving more bottles, or she traveled and people came to visit and she ended up giving more bottles than she would normally. And so she started power pumping and built her milk back up. So initially when she was ready to give up, she surged forward, you know, giving herself a date. Okay, I'm gonna stop at this point. And so she would do whatever she could to continue to that date, working as hard as she could, pumping if she had to increase her milk, whatever she had to do, she did it. And then when she got to that date, she was encouraged to push it a little farther and a little farther to the point where she wasn't even thinking of stopping anymore. So yes, you will have moments where you feel that it's just too hard. And you'll have moments where you just need a break. And you need to give a bottle without feeling like a horrible mom. And that's okay. That's okay if you take a break. And it's okay if you feel, you know, sometimes like you just can't do it anymore and that it's too hard, because sometimes it is too hard. Sometimes it is very hard. But it is really rewarding. And when you make it to whatever goal you have, whether it be 2 months or 4 months or 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, whatever your goal is, the rewarding feeling that you feel in your heart, you know, and you're just about being a mother, it just makes you feel like it was all worth it. And remembering that, and it's hard because I have 4, I understand, remembering that it goes by really fast and you will miss it. You will miss when they breastfed all the time, and you will miss when, you know, they hung onto your leg constantly, and you'll miss the toddler, you know, following you around, you know, as you're trying to nurse and change a diaper, or nurse and make a sandwich or whatever. It goes by very fast, and you want to look back without regrets. And, you know, or look back and be just really happy with the decisions that you made. If you choose to breastfeed, you know, for however long you do, or if you choose to stop breastfeeding, it is completely and totally up to you, and never should you feel guilty. My making these videos is to encourage moms to continue breastfeeding, even though it might be hard. Just do whatever you need to do to help you push a little harder. If it means you take that little break, if it means a day off, if it means a couple hours off, if it means 1 bottle a day, whatever it means to you to make breastfeeding a little bit easier, or to give you the strength you need to go on 1 more day, find that outlet. Find, you know, what it is that makes it easier. And, you know, talk with a support person if you have someone. Look on YouTube for other people that are, you know, maybe have babies the same age as you, or who breastfeeding, or same age as your baby, who are breastfeeding like you, or who have, you know, a newborn and a toddler, or whatever the case. You know, look for those. I had a 2-year-old that was driving me crazy, and I began watching John and Kate +8, and it was when all her babies were 2, and it made me say, you know what? If she can do 6 2-year-olds, I can do 1 2-year-old. So sometimes just watching somebody with twins, or watching somebody with, you know, more than 1 or 2 or 3 kids, and it makes you feel like, okay, I can do this. If she can do it, I can do it. You know, definitely subscribe to my channel and check out my videos that talk about different breastfeeding subjects. Feel free to comment below or to message me. Check out my Facebook page. If you have a question or a concern, feel free to contact me, and I definitely will respond. I just wanted to make this video for all those moms out there, telling them that yes, breastfeeding is hard. If it's hard for you, you're not the only one. Sometimes it gets easier, and then it can get hard again, and then it gets easy again. Okay, so I know my memory is almost full, so I want to try to get this out. So breastfeeding is hard, and it goes through periods where it's harder than others. Try to push forward, but try not to feel guilty, for your, the stresses, or for feeling like you just want to give up, or for feeling like you hate it. Sometimes you will hate it, but just remember that many moms are feeling it, even the ones that look like it's so easy. They still have those moments too. They share them. They understand. They understand that breastfeeding is not easy, that it has its hard moments, but they also understand that it's rewarding, and it's why you chose to do it, and it's why they chose to do it. But let's try not to feel guilty about ways that we might make it a little easier for ourselves. But again, try not to give up. Try to push forward. Try to push yourself as much as you can, but not feeling guilty, not being guilty if you do have to stop. If it comes between you and your sanity and you have to stop, don't feel guilty about it. It doesn't make you less of a mother. So hopefully this video reaches some of you moms out there that are struggling or finding breastfeeding hard, and it either helps you to push forward, or it helps you not to feel guilty if you've decided to stop. So I hope to talk to you guys, see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button or the notification bell to be able to get messages when when new videos are put up. So you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you guys in my next video.